Hello and welcome, I'm Raziel, and today on Does 40k Always Win is, well, let's just be honest with you, it's Spartans versus Astartes. Now, the actual discussion is going to be that, but it was going to be on the premise of genetically altered superhumans, but after birth, so things like, the Space Marines, the Custodes, the Spartans, and of course Captain America. But the thing is, Captain America, any Marvel fan that actually thinks he has a chance here is absolutely deluded. I'm sorry, it's just not gonna happen. And one of the reasons I didn't add the Primarchs, because they were born that way, means I have to add extra superhumans who were born genetically altered, such as the boys, villains such as Homelander. And you're going to tell me that Homelander is going to struggle against the Primarchs? I'm sorry, he's not. He is so OP. The only way he ended up dying is by someone as strong as him. And there isn't a Primarch as strong as him. I'm sorry. Oh, but he lifted a Titan with one hand. Okay, fine. And? That's nothing really compared to what Homelander can do. Homelander is stupidly strong. But we're not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. We're going down the Astartes versus Master Chief. Astartes versus Spartans. And this is such an interesting one for me. I love Halo games. I really do. I think they're fantastic. I've played them all. I've finished all of them but Infinite. I'm doing that this weekend. Yay, finally get a chance. And I love 40k and I love the Space Marines. I do love the Space Marines. I collect so many Astartes armies. I always tend to do at least 2 every edition, and I will be doing 2 this edition. Actually, I think I'm doing 3 this edition, and that's not even including Chaos, by the way. And talking of that, no magic. Magic's not to be included, so no psychers. This is your baseline Astartes, your baseline Spartan. That's it. And this is where it gets interesting, because neither are going to win this discussion. It's a draw between those two, and I've got to be very clear between those two. Right, this is why. First things first, if we go to talk about strength, the first problem is, and this is a narrative problem, and it affects both. I'm not going, oh my god, why K writes so badly? Oh my god, no, it affects both. We don't know what they cannot do. That's a problem, because we can go up and say, oh, how strong is Master Chief? How strong is a Spartan? A Spartan can flip the M313 Elephant. That's 176 tons? 186 tons, I should say. Okay, it can lift that. Okay, what can a Space Marine lift? Can a Space Marine lift that? We do not know. We do not know. And that's the problem. And it would be safe to assume that he probably could, but we do not know. And I'm not going to go ahead and say he cannot if we do not know. Okay, that's just one of the biggest issues. So strength-wise, I would say they pretty much draw on an equal basis here. Where it really gets interesting, in my opinion, is the armor. Now, when it comes to ranged combat, between the average Astartes and the average Spartan, the Spartan is going to win. They are both incredibly well trained to the same level. They're both incredibly well competent with weapons and everything else. They are very, very good at what they do. And honestly, between the two, they are not going to beat each other due to combat prowess. What puts Master Chief in the Spartan ahead is they have this armor plus they have a shield. And this is where it gets interesting, because I was looking at through the games and I realised something. Any form of fire, power, concussive shot, solid shell shot, plasma shot, needler, always took a lot longer to attack and kill the Spartan than close combat. And if you read Space Marine books, you'll also kind of see the adverse. Most firepower and weapons will kill this is obviously projectile weapons here, will kill an astartes quite quickly. We read it all the time. The bolt round went through his armor and blew him up from the inside. We read it so often. This is where it gets interesting, because now, when it comes to close combat, it flips. Again, if you look at the game and take a careful closer, when you're fighting anyone in melee, you are dead. A lot of melee weapons are, even melee and close combat, are one-shot kills within the game. However, including gameplay as well, because we're going to include Space Marine here as well, close combat doesn't really adversely affect the Space Marine at all. And again, this is where the Space Marine would win. So range combat, the Spartan would win. The close combat, the Astartes would win. And not a question in my mind that way. But if it was really come down to an all-out war, I would say his Space Marines would win. And it's nothing to do with strength, combat prowess, armor, weapons, none of that. Because at the end of the day, the reason the Space Marines would win is numbers. Space Marines have a lot more than there are Spartans. If we take the original Halo canon, originally there was just the one, which is you, Master Chief, but then we learn about more and more and more, but there's not the vast 1 million of Space Marines that are about in 40k. And yes, the minimum number is 1 million, because Black Templars don't play fair and won't give out their true numbers. 1,000 times 1,000 is 1,000,000, okay? So that's where the Space Marines will win. But one-on-one combat, it would depend on whether it's ranged or close combat. Now this is when we bring in the Custodes. The Custodes are not born that way. They are made that way. And they would wreck a Spartan. Their armor is like... this is baseline Custodes, by the way. Your basic Custodian. Yeah, they're going to wreck any Spartan that comes near them. Their combat prowess is far better than an Astartes. So if I'm saying a Spartan is equal to an Astartes in combat prowess, the Custodes is going to be better than a Spartan. Their armor is designed for all forms of firepower. It's not just close combat, which they're very good at and it defends well against. The only time we ever really see a Custodian get killed is via sneakiness. Like they weren't expecting it. I'm not including the whole Harlequin stuff, alright? I'm an Eldar fan, but even I think that was bloody stupid. Alright? I'm not including that. It's stupid. And I'm not giving it... Anyway. But then again, we could always say that if we're going to include that, we can just include the fact that grunts run up to Spartans with 2 glowing plasma grenades, and that works. So stupid is what stupid does. But again, Custodes are so much better. Their armor is better. Their weapons are better. There isn't one way I could consider that a Spartan would beat a Custodian guard, even the most basic brand new one. Everything about them is better. And seeing as I've already said that a Spartan is equal to a Space Marine, I cannot therefore say he's going to be a Custodian. That would be absolutely hypocritical. Anyway, that is today's Would 40k, Does 40k Always Win? Probably not going to do it. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you all again soon. Have a great day. I hope you're all having a good one. I love seeing your comments down below. As always, there's a link to Whaling Games down below if you wish to save up to 20% on your Warhammer and free delivery after £20. There is also Forbidden Planet for comics, DVDs, manga, plushies, toys, all that cool stuff. There is also my merchandise as well. Comics, t-shirts, mugs. All the artwork is done by me. And finally, there is... What am I going to say? Oh, Skyforge. Just give that guy a click to take a look at his shop. He's a good friend of mine. He's the only one I don't get any money from because I like the guy. He's a good mate. I want you to go and support him. I really do. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.